Welcome into another edition of the Pick a Side podcast. Shea, Norling, and Tyler Aki with you as always. And today we have the NFC and AFC East previews as the NFL division previews roll on. One of, I think, the most fascinating divisions in football that nobody has viewed as one of the most fascinating divisions in football because most people seem to think it's wrapped up before it starts. I don't feel that way. And then the AFC East, where in a little bit, I'm just going to throw a team in a dumpster, and the rest of it, you'll find out. We'll get to it, but Tyler, you want to get started?
Let's do a little NFC East. Yeah, I think both of these divisions, rather, very fascinating, but I don't feel like there's a ton of betting action on them, is how I feel.
I have an offer for you.
All right,
in the NFC East. It is a friendship offer.
Okay.
But I don't want to jump out of the gate with it. I'd rather start with the Eagles.
We'll slow boil.
Yeah, we'll slow burn our way to a friendship bet offer.
All right.
I would rather.
Are we working in tandem for this, or are we going head to head?
No, I think this is. We put a little cash together.
Okay.
Pool some action on a play.
Sounds good.
It is the long shot dart of a century.
Okay, I know exactly where we're going on this.
But I think we both like a certain team that most people fucking hate.
All right.
I want to start with the Eagles because I think there's questions here.
Okay.
And I think it would surprise people to say that. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. They bring back Saquon Barkley. They return an awesome offensive line led by Hall of Famers. Lane Dickerson, Landon Johnson, Jordan Mailata. Cam Jurgens is filled in great at center after the retirement of Jason Kelsey. There's nothing bad I can say about them offensively. The weapons on the outside. Defensively is where I think, look.
Lost a lot.
Howie has a blood oath with Satan, and every player that they draft is just seemingly going to be an all-pro. So, like, Jihad Campbell, I have no doubt, is just going to be an electric linebacker and potentially all-pro edge rusher. They're not even going to use him at edge, though. They're going to use him more off-ball. Edge is where I think they've got worry. You've got Nolan Smith and Jackson Hunt, both of whom are good, but then it's Azeez Ojulari and another depth piece that it's thin at edge rusher. You lost Milton Williams, who anchored the middle of the defense along with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. I don't know if they can replace the productivity that they lost. They'll be good, but this is also a division that hasn't had a repeat winner since, 2005?
It's been a while, yeah. Here's what I would say, though, about the defensive line is how much of the defensive line is just the sum of the parts. And I think, especially when you've got Vic Fangio tailoring up that defensive line. Like, Josh Sweat, solid, good player. Milton Williams, solid, good player. They're not Jalen Carter.
No.
Right? Like, there's still a lot of the key pieces. You brought up Nolan Smith. Like, there's still really good pieces, and how much of it is, all right, if we just work 4 as 1, we're going to be better than the 5 that we're going up against.
Yeah, I believe in how well they're coached. Vic Fangio on the defensive side.
And how well they draft and develop, too.
Sirianni really answered the bell last year
in
a season where people pre-fired him after the Falcons loss early in the year, and that defense got walked down the field by Kirk Cousins. After that game, it felt like a pivot point. I do wonder how much of a hangover you get after winning the Super Bowl, because I don't think that's necessarily underrated. It's the Patriots and the Chiefs broke everybody's brain about how easy it is to just win one and do it again. But the more regular happening is like the Rams won it and were bad. And I wonder if there's a little bit of a slip on the Eagles side. Again, in part because I also don't love the quarterback.
The quarterback's good enough.
He's good enough. But he's not he's not a floor raiser.
No, but I think he sets a floor for what your team can be.
I don't think he's a ceiling raiser either. He is the sum of all the parts. He's the sum of having Saquon Barkley, of having the offensive line, of having Devonta Smith, of having A.J. Brown, the tight end that has just been a rotating cast but has always worked. I just don't know if I'm ready to buy in that the Eagles are going to run off another East title and potentially a Super Bowl when they're, I believe, co-favorite to win the Super Bowl, if not short.
They're the first NFC team.
Right.
Yeah.
Favorite to win the conference, favorite in the NFC to win the Super Bowl, favorite to win their division. I don't know if I would bet any of that.
No, I mean, you can't. I would never take a division winner who's laying juice, like minus 140 to win the division. You've got one of the highest win totals at 11.5. And like, could they go out there and rattle off another 13-win season? Absolutely. I don't think that would shock you or I.
11.5 win total also, I almost have to take the under on principle. I've done it with the Niners a few times. You just don't win 12 games in the NFL.
It's very tough, especially even you'd think expanding the schedule would help that. It almost feels like it's hurt that to a degree.
Yeah.
It's just the war of attrition lasts even longer. There's another game in there that you should win, but you end up losing. Like, it's the NFL. These teams are a lot closer to each other than we think. Even the Browns, like the Browns to the Eagles, if we're just going off of one of the worst teams and one of the best teams, they're closer than you think. It's not like college where there's 130 teams
Right.
and Alabama versus pick your bottom feeder,
Right.
your Boston University or your Colgate's. Like, they're a little closer than you think.
Well, and it took
in the
until
NFL.
late last year where the disparity started showing up. In college, you'll see 30-point spreads every week.
Yeah.
In the NFL, you will never see a spread north of like 14, except in rare instances like last year when the Ravens were an 18.5-point favorite against the Giants.
Yeah.
And that takes until December when the Giants are actively trying to lose and the Ravens are a juggernaut. So to your point, and especially in a division like this where I think the floor has come up significantly to meet the top.
I think there's no bad teams in this division.
I don't
Maybe that's
either.
a little spoiler for what we're going to get into, but I think there are no bad teams.
Now, Dallas is the one I thought, I teased this a little bit yesterday. I
Mm-hmm.
said there's a team I felt a way about that I don't really feel that way about anymore. Dallas is the one where I was really high on them most of the offseason.
Yeah.
You pair CeeDee Lamb with George Pickens. It feels like you get Dak back, but then you get the Tyler Guyton injury at left tackle, who you really needed after the departure a couple years ago with Tyron Smith. Dak hasn't been able to stay healthy. Defensively, I think they're just bad.
Yeah.
Like, do they have enough offense to have a bounce back season? And even with Micah Parsons, one, I don't buy he's playing week one. Whether they trade him or not, I don't think he's going to
when you're the Thursday game too.
And when you go to the extent of, like, I've been on the side of Micah the whole time, but now it's getting a little pouty when you show up to the preseason game and you lay on a table and nap. At that point, I'm like, what are we even doing here?
Well, and doesn't Micah gain, I don't want to say gain all the leverage with this being the kickoff game, but if he sits out, the Eagles winning their ring ain't the story. Right? No. Putting up a banner ain't the story anymore. It is Micah Parsons, and it feels like all the narrative around the game is Micah Parsons is sitting out this game because of contract dispute.
And if he sits out against that O-line, you can't replace him. Like, that is, you're starting your season 0-1 with all of the drama around Micah Parsons. And I know this happened to the Chiefs a couple years ago, but the Cowboys are not the Chiefs. And I'm talking about when they lost to Detroit, Chris Jones sat out, and then he came back in with a cape on like a superhero to rescue them from the 0-1 start. The Cowboys aren't that team.
No. Far from it. And I just
And their corners are a nightmare.
Well, like-
Trayvon Diggs, I've had enough.
But there is something to the fact that those guys still get turnovers. And sure, that fluctuates year to year. You're also going from Trayvon Diggs to whatever the backup option is. And you can feel whatever way you want about Trayvon Diggs. He's better than your backup option.
Yep.
And the other way I look at this, too, is like the whole vibe around this Cowboys team. And I tried to get there with the Cowboys.
Bad.
Plus 650 to win the division. I felt like that may be the value play in this division. But you've got the Micah situation. It's injuries galore. You brought up Guyton. Also, Trayvon Diggs dealing with injury. Demarion Overshown dealing with injury. Jaden Blue dinged up, too, who's should be, by the end of the season, probably their starting running back.
Yep.
Feels like a bit of a Bucky Irving situation there.
And they've whiffed on running back for a few years now.
Yeah.
Not that I think running back's a high-value thing, but when you're talking about trying to win a division, you've got to do better than the Deuce Vaughn, the kid out of Kansas State, Rico Dowdle.
Bringing back Zeke.
Right, like the dead body of Zeke Elliott. And it's just now Jadon Blue, who knows what you're going to get out of him? Could this be a Jonathan Brooks situation where Carolina hoped that he'd be the lead back and he can barely even play? Like, you hope not for the player, but if you're talking about trying to win the East or go over a fairly lofty win total, I really wanted to get there with them, and I just couldn't. And I come away feeling like they might be the last place team in this division.
Now, maybe...
Also, the shoddy deal.
I wasn't a fan of that hire either. Look, Now, maybe all of this stuff figures itself out by week 1 or even like by the Sunday of week 1, and you're all good. And none of this is an issue anymore. And you just chug along. And if that's the case, then I think you're talking about value in a team with the Cowboys.
Maybe, but even with all those things, like they're not going to get the injuries sorted. The only thing
There's a chance all of them could be available week 1.
There's a chance. I doubt all of them are available. And if they are, they're not going to be available full health.
You do have the long layover to get to your next Sunday.
Sure, but I'm also not getting in the business of Dak being healthy for a full season at this point. Like every time I'm like, this really could work. And I think the Pickens and CD thing actually can. I think George Pickens is a good player.
I've always liked Jake Ferguson too. They've done a good job.
Really good tight end.
And listen, like they deserve a lot of credit for how they've drafted. Like Will Clay's done a tremendous job putting together talent and drafting and developing talent. It's just then you get into it's the diva part of being part of the Dallas Cowboys. It's the reality show part of becoming the Dallas Cowboys, and that's what gets in the way.
I think if you made me bet one or the other, first place or last place for the Cowboys in the East, I would lean last place.
Yeah, and I think that may be more of a volume of what's in the division. It's more of the respect for what I have for the other 3 teams in the division over 100%. Anything else.
Yeah, and again, there's a team here nobody's talking about, but we'll get to them in a moment because we have to talk about last year's big story, Washington and Jaden Daniels, and I have become a Jaden Daniels believer. I wasn't in the draft.
Yep.
I am now.
Yeah.
I like whatever people want to say, show me again, don't have a sophomore slump. I'm sorry. He had the best rookie quarterback season, I should say, I have ever seen. His rushing ability is plus elite athleticism.
Yeah.
Like he can alter the state of a game virtually by himself. And now they've solved the Terry McLaurin problem. I don't love Fat Debo. I'm not really in on it.
I will say, did you watch the one preseason game he was in? He was bigger, but he could still move.
Yeah,
he was moving.
You know how I feel. I thought he was a gimmick receiver in San Francisco.
And I feel the same way that you do. But
defensively, I still have some questions. They tried to make it better. I don't love bringing in Laramie Tunsil to be the left tackle. I know he plays really well at the position, but he's also been the most penalized tackle in football for like 3 years running now. I get a little concerned at that. I think Charlie has coined the microwaved defenses thing. That also concerns me a little bit. And then the natural regression of this stat is overblown, but they played so many backup quarterbacks last year.
Yeah.
And they won so many games in comeback fashion.
Or miracle fashion.
Yeah, like the Hail Mary, it's a miracle that should have been a loss.
Yeah.
Or the massive comeback against the Eagles when Jalen Hurts got concussed in the first quarter.
Yeah.
Like those are random spots where they shouldn't have won, but they did. And that's not to take anything away from what they accomplished. It's just if I'm projecting forward, are all of those things going to go right for you again? The likeliest answer is no. So if you're popping a win total close to 10 and you're the second best odds to win this division, I don't feel great about it.
Yeah, and just situationally, too, I feel like this team is catching the shaft this year. Not only did they have everything break their way last season, and that's not to take away from what they did in the playoffs. Like, you went out and you curb stomped Detroit in their own house.
They beat the shit out of them.
You can't take anything away from that victory. And there was no luck involved there either.
But I can contextually say Detroit had the most players on IR of any team, and basically their entire defense was on IR.
But your defense stepped up in that game, 100%. Too. That puts you in a position to win that game.
Yeah, I'm not denying any of that, and I'm not taking – it's just there has to be a little added context of they played everybody that they played in basically the best scenario to play that team. And that like going on the road to Detroit, that's obviously not the best scenario, but playing them at a moment where their defense was dead is as good as it gets. So it's, can you repeat all of that? And I still can't get out of my head this defense gave up 52 points in a conference title game.
Yeah, right. The clock struck midnight on Cinderella at some point for them. And it was a great season. You could not have asked for a better season if you were the Washington Commanders, just being one win away from the Super Bowl.
Do I feel like they can repeat it? The answer's kind of no.
Can I give you some numbers that kind of support that here?
Go ahead.
Because, all right, they're 8th in strength of schedule, but if you put into the context what their strength of schedule is, you've got 2 trips out to the West Coast. You're going to Madrid, which counts as a home game for you, and you close the season at Philadelphia. Now, maybe Philly's got the division wrapped up, and they're not playing for anything. And maybe you get that going your way. But I think we see this NFC as a whole condense itself a little bit, and everyone's kind of playing for something in Week 18.
Yep.
The other part of this, too, you're familiar with the rest advantage that Warren Sharp puts together.
Yep.
Everyone in this division is +4 or better. That's really good. Washington is -13.
Jesus.
That is the second worst in all of football. I should say third worst in all of football.
It's a great stat, especially when you have a quarterback who I do love as a player, but just physically speaking, I still don't know if his body is built to withstand what he does physically. He doesn't avoid hits. He runs into them. If you're playing at a rest disadvantage a lot with all of the travel that's baked in, how healthy can Jaden Daniels stay?
Well, it's that.
He had broken ribs last year.
And on top of that, too, you've got a Week 12 bye. And I don't think that helps for this team when you do have that. The other part, too, everything's about the young quarterback, right? Everyone thinks, oh, like young, up-and-coming team. This is the oldest roster in football.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that. And when you've got a Week 12 bye, that rest disadvantage, that schedule disadvantage, I don't think that ends well for you. You're going to have a really hard time staying healthy for all 17 weeks.
It's part of why I say I don't love Fat Debo, because not only did you bring in an aging wide receiver, you brought in a guy who costs you a ton of money, and now you're spending, close to $56 million on 2 wide receivers? It's just, that to me is untenable when neither of them are a top 10 player at the position. It's not, like Terry McLaurin's wonderful. He's not Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
Debo, even if you don't feel the way I do, that he was a gimmicky scheme receiver in San Francisco, he's not, I don't even know if he's Jordan Addison at this point. Like, you don't have a tremendous wide receiver tandem despite spending at the top of the market on 2 of them.
Yeah.
So that gives me pause. Again, the Laramie Tunsil thing gives me pause. It's just a lot of stuff that I look at. And when you're talking about value, I would lean under on Washington more than I would over.
Can I throw you a miss the playoffs parlay that I cooked up yesterday?
I love this idea. Yeah.
Detroit and Washington both to miss the playoffs +440.
I don't hate that at all. You want to fade 2 stories from last year, 2 teams that got gashed in the offseason, 2 teams that, I mean, Washington did more than Detroit did. Detroit didn't really effort to get a whole lot better. Washington did, but I don't know if the moves they made are the right ones.
I think we could see a lot of turnover in the NFC playoff picture.
I do too. I really do. And look, I think one of the biggest problems for the NFC is the team that's projected to finish last and has odds north of 20-1 to win this division. That's the New York Football Giants. I don't have to like Joe Shane. I don't have to like Ryan Daboll, but I kind of like Jackson Dart, at least what we've seen from him. I like Malik Neighbors a lot. Wan'Dale Robinson is better than people want to give credit for.
I think, one of the most underrated players in the league.
He's got a little Olamide Zaccheaus to him, where it's just like he's useful in spots and he will be reliable. And then can I sell you that they might be, if not top 3, top 5 in the line of scrimmage in the entire league?
Defensively, for sure.
Defensive line, I think, is the best in football.
Is the best in football. And, like, you had a great group last year, and then you go out and add Abdul Carter. Like, this, for everything that the Eagles are, and the Eagles had a great defensive line last year, this defensive line this year, I think, is better than any in all of football, which is saying something in this division when you've got Micah Parsons and the rotating cast of characters that show up in Philadelphia year after year.
They retooled their offensive line last year. It got better. Evan Neal won't be a problem anymore. Like they have improved enough that I'm not going to sit here and tell you they will win the division, but at 22-1?
Yeah.
Friendship bet.
We diving in. This is our Carolina Panthers from a year ago. I was all in on Carolina. Who were you in on? Was it the Giants last year?
And this is maybe the Got Fooled Again award. You can pin it right on me. Fucking idiot.
Or maybe you weren't wrong. You were just
early. at the odds that you were getting when you talk about a much improved offensive line and maybe the best defensive line in all of football, a really good defense. Metrically, they were a good defense last year.
Mm-hmm. 8th in sacks, and then you add Abdul Carter.
And then you just, maybe they did strike gold with Jackson Dart. Maybe Dable has a guy that he can teach, and they hit this right, and they will get him in because their jobs are over if this season goes badly regardless. Why else did you pick a quarterback? This just because it failed with the Bears and Justin Fields doesn't mean it has to fail here. The process of doing it. And I liked their offseason. I liked their draft. I like what they've built. They have an incredible weapon in Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to win this division. It's probably the Eagles, but if you're giving me 20-1 odds on a long shot that I kind of like what they have cooking roster-wise, friendship bet.
Listen, they've got the hardest strength of schedule this season, but I think a lot of that is baked into you play your division twice.
Yeah.
And to be honest, and like this is again part of the little accordion effect. This division is like the bottom, as perceived, the Giants versus the top Eagles.
They're closer
than you think. And you mix in the teams that are in the middle there with Dallas and Washington, it's a lot closer than you think. And I think that this Giants team, you've got a chance to maybe go 3-3 in the division, and that may be good enough to put you at like second place with a chance to get into first later on in the season.
Yeah.
It also hurts that you play the NFC North, too. That is your divisional matchup.
But everybody else in your division does, too.
Exactly. So it's a tough schedule, no doubt about it, but I think the familiarity concept within the NFC East helps his team out a little bit.
Look, somebody goes worst to first. And if you want to be the person putting your money on the Niners to go worst to first, be my guest, but you get no value on it. And I think there's two teams you can dart. One of them we won't talk about today. The other one we are. And if you want to just have a chance to get paid for a big opinion, I think the Giants are the team you take that chance on.
Yeah. No, I like this Giants team. Listen, it's a long shot. It's a long shot for a reason.
Yep.
But I think you have a chance with this one.
The one thing I will bet on my own for sure, like we can do a friendship bet if you want. Each of us will throw $20 in on a 20-1. I would bet the Giants win total over.
Yes.
It's the only thing that
my favorite bet, I think, of the NFL season.
Yeah, it's the only thing I came out of the NFC East, and I was like, I'm very firm Giants win total.
5.5, you're throwing me that number. It's one of the lowest numbers that you're going to get.
Think about last year. The worst teams in football were winning 6-7 games. Like, you can get to that. Well, not last year because of the tank that occurred, but 2 years ago, certainly 6-7 games you were picking in the top 7 in the draft. Like, you win that much, you're bad.
Yeah.
But that's easy to clear a 5.5. And with their defensive line, if they can't win 6 games, I don't know what.
Your defensive line is going to keep you in every single game. It eases some of the deficiencies you may have in the secondary when you get to the quarterback at the speed that you do. And I think there's good pieces. Listen, the offensive line is going to have to take a step. They were not good last year, but you do have the semblance of what could be a, not good, but a solid offensive line, a good enough offensive line. Now, your quarterback situation here, Russell Wilson's a guy who holds the ball for a long time. He's going to take a lot of sacks. Now, the flip side of that is he may get injured early on, but if there's
benched.
If there's any team that has the ability to withstand injury in the NFL right now at the quarterback position, it is the Giants. The drop-off from Russell Wilson to Jackson Dart to Jameis Winston is not all that steep.
And there's a chance that Jackson Dart presents an upgrade.
For sure. There's a chance any of those guys are an upgrade.
He's got actual upside, which I didn't feel like was true out of Ole Miss, but I do now. I've really all offseason I was working my way into talking myself into Jackson Dart. Everything you heard about him pre-camp, from the OTAs, the mini camps, all of it was good. And then you see him in the preseason. All this kid did was show up to work and ball.
Is there, remember where Dable came from, right? He comes from Buffalo. Is there maybe this guy's a little Josh Allen light, just gamer? He's got some questions to his game for sure, especially coming out of college, but he can run the football. He's got a good arm. I kind of don't hate this Jackson Dart, Brian Dable pairing because I don't think Brian Dable is all that bad of a coach. Maybe he's not cut out to be a head coach, but in terms of a quarterback developer, I think he's a solid piece to do that with.
I think it's like this is his shot to prove he can refine a prospect. He really can. Like, he can do what he did with Josh Allen.
Now the time bomb is ticking because you get 1 year to do this.
No, if this goes sideways, make no mistake, both of these dudes are fired, Shane and Dable. They're gone, and they'll clean out a lot of what they built. But if this goes right, they could find themselves in the playoffs or atop the NFC East.
So do you see this as maybe being a Justin Herbert situation where Jackson Dart is not the starter heading into the year, but he ends up winning Rookie of the Year?
Are you suggesting that a Giants doctor will puncture Russell Wilson's lung?
I'm not going that far, but theoretically, that offensive line, not all that great. Guy comes off the edge early in the season, and down goes Russell Wilson, in comes Jackson Dart.
Or the flip side, what happens? You go out week 1 and Russell Wilson just sucks.
I think they're willing to ride with him a little bit, but
Broncos country. All right, anything else in the NFC?
Dart 20-1 for offensive Rookie of the Year.
I love that.
I think there's, because I don't think you're getting great value in the offensive Rookie of the Year market. There's a guy that I like, but he doesn't play like an optimal position to win this award.
Who? Just say it.
Emeka Ebika in Tampa Bay.
I like Tet McMillan.
And that's fair, but Tet McMillan's odds, I think, are like half of what Ebika's are.
Yeah.
But
I don't like Ashton Genty. I'm comfortable saying that right now. I'd totally fade that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't take Cam Ward either. But Cam Ward has like a tie goes to the runner situation. He plays quarterback. These other guys we're discussing don't. But yeah, Jackson Dart at 20-1. I mean, you're getting a quarterback at 20, a first-round quarterback at that, at 20-1. He's not going to play 17 games this year. We know that for a fact. He's not. But can he put together a really, really strong 14? That could be enough to get you over the finish line.
For sure. All right, AFC side. I'm going to just start with the team I hate and the bet that I have placed and the bet that I frankly love, and it might be my favorite of the NFL season. In fact, there's two, but you got to go kind of offshore for one of them. Mike McDaniel, first coach fired.
Okay.
You can put it in the bank, and I kind of like to take Miami to have the worst record in the NFL.
Okay, listen, I don't hate either of those. I think they're
terrible.
And it's funny because this is usually a team that starts fast, and I'm not in on this Miami team. You've got problems on the offensive line. Your defense, I think, has pieces, but they've never been really able to put it together for a season. And then the everlasting question is, what is the Tua and Tyreek connection going to look like?
Well,
has it reached its expiration date?
Will Tyreek be there past week 7? Like, you
Another
have
fair question.
A wide receiver 1 who might get traded. You
still have a good wide receiver 2,
Sure.
who is a wide receiver 1 on most teams.
Agreed, but when Tyreek is as high a usage player as he is in their offense, and he might get traded, that worries me. When I think your coach is a dead body, that worries me. When I think, like, Devon Achane, is he alive? The injury reports on Devon Achane are scary. That's RB1.
I will say this, though. The running back stuff in Miami never really phases me all that much because it almost feels like in the McDaniel offense, running backs are like how the Eagles are with the defensive line.
Fair.
Whoever they put back there is going to be fine. And they draft Ollie Gordon.
What happens if McDaniel gets clipped? Then all of a sudden, all that goes out the window.
But yeah.
Like, defensively, I know it's not necessarily all that recent, but you've lost Andrew Van Ginkel from a pass rush that was good. I don't buy anything that Miami's selling, and the vibes are awful around this team.
Can I give you one thing, though?
The softness, like saying that teams are too physical in practice when you played the Bears and the Lions and they're being tryhards, it just strikes me as you're soft. Yeah. All of it rubs me the wrong way.
There is one thing that I am slightly intrigued for. Have you seen these on DraftKings, the fast futures? They're basically, they're future bets, but it's only for the first 4 weeks of the season. So it just,
boy, this is D-Gen City here.
No, but there's two guys that I always think of that are like real hot starters. I'd even throw a third in there too. But it's Tua, Dak, and Kyler Murray. Just come out of the gates firing for those first 4 seasons, and then you see their seasons fall off of a cliff. So
that's beyond me, pal. You're in real D-Gen territory on that.
I just saw this. It caught my eye, and I thought of Tua when I saw this. But to have the most passing touchdowns through the first 4 weeks, Tua is 30-1, and to have the most yards through the first 4 weeks, he's 11-1. The rest of this shit can fly off a cliff week 7, week 8.
Yeah, and you know what? The most yards thing I actually don't hate because their defense is so bad. They might be trailing and just be trying to catch up.
Remember, what was it, week 2 or week 3? This team played the Denver Broncos a couple years ago and put up 70.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're working with here with the Dolphins. Mike McDaniel may not know how to be a head coach of a football team, but he knows how to coach an offense.
It's the Shanahan offense.
Yeah,
He's just going to run that.
He knows how to coach a high-octane, high-volume scoring offense.
It's hard for me to co-sign anything positive even for 4 weeks when I'm trying to sell that I think this could be the worst team in football. Like, this could be a 2-3 win team.
Listen, I am the devil on your shoulder right now trying to sell you on a 4-week future.
Won't do it. The other reason I won't do it, and the other reason why I hate the Dolphins, what happens if Tua gets concussed week 1? His career might be over.
Yeah,
And I know that's like freak things happen. It's not unfair at this point to discuss Tua being injury prone and the severity of his brain injuries.
Yeah.
So I'm out fully.
All right.
Jets, I actually think are going to be better than people expect.
Interesting.
Not because of the quarterback. I don't really buy that like the Justin Fields reunion with Garrett Wilson is suddenly going to be great. I think their offensive line is abysmal. Offensively, just in general, I think they're bad. But their defense is legit.
Is it?
Yeah,
I'm not
they've
as
got
in on the
talented
defense.
players, man, and they got a really good coordinator behind them, in Aaron Glenn, who will call plays.
I feel the complete opposite from you on this. I think Aaron Glenn was the second most underqualified coach that got a head coaching job.
I know you're a hater. I knew this would. I knew this would cause problems,
with or without the injuries that plagued them last year. It's been bad for a couple of years now. It's been centered around one player.
They were, well, fair, but they were top 5 defensively before Hutchinson got hurt.
There was a number of guys on this Jets team that took a step back last year. Like Sauce Gardner wasn't much last year. Like a lot of these guys who are pent up as good players in this league took a step back, and I just think the offense is nothing.
What's their win total? You have it in front of you?
6.5.
Yeah, no bet. But I do think they could be a little bit of a pain in the ass to play week in, week out.
I think they're closer to like 9-1 worst record is one of the better values, I think.
Wow. I don't feel that way with the Jets that you do, but I mean, there's a world like if Fields stinks that they just throw their season in the garbage and tank for a QB.
Because the thing is there's no good option behind Fields either that can resurrect the season.
He's not good.
You're starting with a bad option, and it's not like the Giants. It's not even like the Browns, where it's like, oh, Flacco flames out. You at least have Dylan Gabriel back there who can maybe give you a little bit of a spark. No, you don't. There's no escape hatch on this team.
It's Fields or Tyrod Taylor. There's no upside with either of these guys. They are steady hands. I just wonder if this defense and like the Aaron Glenn Hardo stuff will keep them in enough games that they end up winning 5 or 6. I wouldn't bet an over 6.5. That feels a little inflated. I wouldn't bet an under either. They have the benefit of playing in a division I think is largely terrible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, like the schedule, I think their schedule is like 23rd or something easiest.
Yeah, it's not hard.
23rd hardest, so like one of the easiest, one of the 10 easiest schedules. So, yeah, you get that benefit of the doubt. I just think, I mean, you've got the worst quarterback situation in the division. I'm not as bought in on the defense as you are. The offensive line, boy, that's a mess too. You've got one player on the roster offensively that I really care about, and it's Garrett Wilson. And is he going to want out at a certain point during the season? Like, that could be the next guy, the next domino to fall.
Patriots, I am cautiously bullish on.
Okay.
I really wanted to fire a win the division bet on New England, but the reality is this division, I do think the division winner is settled before the ball gets kicked off.
Yeah, it's the biggest favorite to win a division in the entire league. And it's a team that has the highest win total in the entire league with the Bills. You're talking minus 330 and 12.5 for the win total.
Win total for New England is also fascinating. I think the problem you run into when you try to find a way to bet it is you are late to the party. The line is already at 8.5 minus 110. I think they can win 9 games. I think they can be the 7th seed in the AFC. But am I betting at minus 110 that that's going to happen? I don't know. And I can like a lot of what they added. I like Mike Vrabel, for the most part. I think there's some
Mike
questions.
Vrabel puts together good regular seasons.
Yeah, there's some questions, and there's a little bit of his defenses in Tennessee were somewhat overrated a lot, especially towards the end. But
Isn't it
anytime
kinda similar where he's going to be the bully in the sandbox in this division,
Yes.
like the best in a bad division.
Yep. And anytime that you can rip off 11-win seasons with Ryan Tannehill,
Yeah.
like you
You
just
got to
earn
tip your hat at a certain point.
you earn credibility. I like that they added Travion Henderson. I like that they're at least trying to start building the offensive line with Will Campbell. Whether it works or not remains to be seen. I like Drake May. I don't know what the wide receiver weapons look like. You got Jalen Polk out for the year now with an injury. He might stink anyway. Javon Baker, maybe not going to be on the roster. You look at the rest of this offense. Is Stephon Diggs going to have a career renaissance late with New England?
Pop Douglas.
I don't know. He hasn't played at all. The Pop Douglas connection feels somewhat real.
There was a little something there last year, yeah.
Yeah, like at least the two of them hit a little bit. But defensively, I think they can be improved. It's just the safety position leaves a lot to be desired, whether it's Kyle Duggar or Jabril Peppers. I don't know how to feel about either of those guys. They both suck in coverage. They feel like a relic, this in-the-box run-stopping safety.
Yeah, the way I feel about the Patriots right now is I would go under 8.5. It's actually one of the bets I feel a little bit better. And it's not because I think they're a bad team. I just feel like they're a season away. Because you look at the construction of the roster, there's not a lot that pops. I mean, you've gone through the receivers there. You brought up, I thought this was a great note that you brought up on Cap and Hood yesterday. The only player from their 2024 draft class that's going to be participating this season is Drake May.
Yeah.
That's not a way to go over a win total of 8.5. That's no small number in the NFL. You're asking for an above 500 season who, from a year ago, like that's when you start to see those players become significant contributors to your team. Year 2, year 3. It feels like this team is, and because of that, I would actually say they feel a little closer to 2 years away than 1 year away, but it all depends on what Drake May is. I think even best case scenario, Drake May has a great season this year. I think it comes in context. The offensive line is not completely built. The defense is going to have to really hold up their end of the bargain. And even that, you've got a lot of moving parts there, a lot of free agents. It's not going to click right away.
Pieces they lost last year, too, like Devon Godshaw.
Yeah, like it may look good at the end of the year, but there's going to be some real growing pains, I think, for the first 10, 12 weeks for that defense. And that's why 8.5, you're asking me to go above 500, even in this division with two teams that I do not believe in at all. You can already pencil in 2 losses against the Bills.
Yep.
Like and it's an easy schedule. I get that, but I just think that this Patriots team, there's still too much work to do. And you've got a new head coach in there who I like, but it feels like they're a year or 2 away still.
Their schedule is shockingly easy, though. It's one of the more beneficial schedules I've seen in the entire NFL. You start with the Raiders, who I don't think are very good. You get the Dolphins, I just told you might be the worst team in football. The Steelers, who I don't buy. And then you keep moving. Like, they don't play any of the big-time crossover opponents. They duck the NFC North, Carolina, then Buffalo, at New Orleans. They're awful.
But that's still going to New Orleans.
Sure, but that team, they're
not good.
Dreadful.
Yeah.
At Tennessee, like a 3-week stretch, at New Orleans, at Tennessee versus Cleveland. There probably isn't an easier 3-game stretch anywhere in the NFL.
I would agree, but you still go 2 of those games on the road.
Sure.
One of them might be a look-ahead spot for Vrabel, too, who's looking to kick Tennessee's ass. It's the NFL, too, man. Like,
I know.
It's an easy 3-game stretch, but you could go 1-2 in it.
I know. Playing the schedule game in the NFL is fruitless. But even discussing who's got an easy schedule and a hard schedule before the season starts is also fruitless.
Yeah, you never know who's missing their quarterback one week.
Like, if the Patriots are good, you look at all of the teams right now or all the markets right now that look at the Patriots on their schedule as like, we can beat that team. But then if they're good, all of a sudden your schedule just got way harder.
Yeah.
This division's wrapped up. Buffalo will win it again. You could never bet them to win it because there is absolutely no value. This is the best roster that they have ever had in Sean McDermott's time.
And I still wouldn't say it's like overwhelmingly great. Like,
no, me either.
It's not like what we've seen with the Eagles or the Chiefs, but it is the best that they've had, no doubt.
And can they finally get a pass rush answer with Joey Bosa? A lot of that hinges on health. He had some soft tissue stuff early in the offseason, but seems ready to go week 1 now. If he can finally be their answer, I trust Josh Allen to work with anybody at this point. I don't mind the fact that their weapons are limited.
Yeah, well, the other
they got
part
James Cook under contract.
Yeah, and I think one of the underrated signings that they made in the offseason is Joshua Palmer. I think he's a guy who's going to work perfectly down the field stuff with Josh Allen. He's needed that deep ball threat for a little bit now. I think he's got a really good one with Palmer. And just continuity on the coaching staff, too.
Yeah,
You bring back Joe Brady. You bring back Bobby Babich on that defense. Obviously, Sean McDermott's the architect of that defense. And while we've had our questions about Sean McDermott, those are playoff-based. They are not regular season-based. Buffalo has won the big games in the regular season. They've taken down the Chiefs a number of times.
Virtually every time.
They've taken down the Bengals. Like, they can beat the Ravens. Like, they are one of those teams that regular season – they've got the formula. They know how to do this.
Yeah, and I think, frankly, it's now or never this year for a Super Bowl for McDermott. If it's not getting done now, it's not getting done, straight up.
Can I give you the one stat that does worry me about the Bills?
Sure.
Last year, and again, they go to the conference title game last year.
Yeah.
And it looks like, hey, this is the year they finally knock off the Chiefs and get to the Super Bowl. The turnover margin last year for this team.
I knew you were going to turnovers.
32 forced, 8 giveaways.
Yeah.
Like, that is one of the most unsustainable numbers that you will ever see.
Yeah.
And while I credit Josh Allen a ton because he was a very turnover-prone quarterback, the fact that that offense only had 8 giveaways last year is insane.
And I think
it's going to be closer to 16 than it is to 8 next year.
I think they were all Josh Allen giveaways as well. I think it was 2 lost fumbles and 6 interceptions.
And that's just nose of the football bounce luck.
Right.
It's not like they weren't putting the ball on the turf.
The fumbles lost. It's a coin flip every time.
Yeah.
So you have to assume it's going to, like, if you fumble 8 times and you only lose 2 of them, the following season you might fumble 10 and you'll lose 6.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way
that can be the difference in maybe you lose 2 or 3 games because of that.
100%. But I will say the interception thing does not feel like a fluke.
No.
And they made a very concerted effort that they're sticking to. They aren't going to go out and get some high-profile diva receiver that needs to be fed the football. They're going to get pieces that make sense in their scheme and just allow Josh to make decisions that are right without feeling like somebody's not getting fed.
Yeah.
And that was, I read a quote, and I think it was Joe Brady said it to Josh Allen. If we run a play and it's for Shakir and the play's not there and you have to progress, don't feel like you have to go back to Shakir on the next play to get him. That's my job. I'll worry about getting everybody fed. You just play football.
Yeah.
That's the exact kind of guy Josh. He's like a puppy. You got to let him off the leash and let him do his thing. They let him do that, and he had his best year yet last year. I think he's going to win MVP again.
He's a favorite, co-favorite.
I have to be honest with you. The Bills are my favorite Super Bowl bet.
Interesting. So they are they are the co-favorite with the Ravens for the Super Bowl. I can't like knock it. It does feel like it is this year or it ain't happening.
Yep.
Right?
And it's like betting a Super Bowl champion is almost like horse racing. You're betting a co-favorite, but it's something like 6-1.
Yeah. The other interesting Allen prop that I saw for the season, his touchdown passes over 27.5 is listed at even. He's gone over that number each of the last 5 seasons.
Yeah. I think the concern there, though, is that they dial back his passing volume. Like every year, it feels like they want to run more through James Cook.
And they just paid James Cook.
And dial down how much they're using Josh. Like last year, remember we talked about how many times we're not going to run the offense through Josh Allen until it's the 4th quarter and it's time to.
But that doesn't mean he can't like throw the ball and like rip off a 30-yard touchdown. Like, this is the best. I think you're going to see more 20-plus yard touchdowns from Josh Allen this year than you've ever seen, just because of the supporting cast. Like, Shakir's great at that stuff. I think Josh Palmer's really good. I think Dalton Kincaid can get there. Keon Coleman, what's he going to be in year 2?
Yeah.
I think you've got listen, there's no one in that room right now.
No. It's just guys who get the ball.
To be honest, I would even say like they're barely 2s. Like, there's like low-end 2s in that room. It feels a little bit like what Green Bay's got going.
Yeah.
But that works when you've got Josh
With
Allen.
a much higher level quarterback.
Yes.
All right, that's it for me on that division.
Yeah, that's all I got too. I mean, I feel like it's the two divisions we previewed today were more like win totals that we were betting, I think. And then obviously we're taking the plunge with the Giants, but I only really feel good about some win totals here.
Yep.
And they are some of my strongest win total plays as well.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for us today on the Pick a Side podcast. Next week, you will get the rest of the NFL division previews. Later this week, week 1 picks in college football. A lot to talk about. 3 marquee games in college football. I can't wait for any of them.
3 top 10s.
It's incredible.
And you can say it's the AP fidgeting with the numbers. I don't care. There's 3 top 10 matchups this week.
And it's also, well, Miami is the one I would take issue with. I don't know that they should be 10. But like Notre Dame
top
is
25 game, yeah.
Sure. Notre Dame's clearly a top 10 team. Clemson, Texas, Ohio State, LSU, all clearly top 10 teams. I'm good with it, and I'm excited. I can't wait. We'll get you picks. We'll break it all down. We'll do that later this week. It's the Pick a Side podcast.